Good evening, Tallahassee. I'm student meteorologist Dylan Leith.
And I'm student meteorologist Jennifer Collins. It's been a warm day, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been very hot. I walked over to campus this morning and was sweating by the time I made it over here.
It was certainly a warm day. I think the high was like 91 degrees, so it's certainly... Yeah, and we're starting FSU weather back up again after...
Well, I mean, we were gone for like 10 days. I mean, I was still here, but like classes were canceled for 10 days. And it's crazy to be back.
Certainly. I mean, a lot of people are still coming back to school here at FSU, and so we have to make up some of those days, certainly, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was not used to this schedule because I needed my coffee this morning. Did you?
Yeah, I forgot my coffee, so sadly I was not really awake for most of the day, but.
Yeah. Well, luckily you'll get your fix of weather now.
Yeah, certainly. So we're taking looks at some temperatures all across the Big Bend region. I think. Yeah, the high today was...
you're gonna show us the highs.
Yeah, the highs today were 91 degrees here in Tallahassee, 91 degrees in Quincy as well. So we're certainly feeling those warm temperatures, especially with not a lot of wind, and dew points are certainly staying on the warm side all across the Big Bend region. And as we're taking a look at more going on, today's high temperatures, 91 degrees for Thomasville, 89 degrees for Valdosta, so it's certainly feeling warm across the area. Satellites are staying clear, not any rain chances, not any rain across the Big Bend area for tonight. Forecast 70 degrees, really taking a look at clear skies for much of the day and a calm evening, especially with winds. We're not going to have a lot of wind, so it's going to stay a little bit warm throughout tonight. Only a 10% rain chance going on for there. Taking a look at weather headlines, the heat starts to come back as we're taking a look at some rain chances coming back into the picture for this midweek, and monitoring Maria, which is a Category 5, and Jose as a Category 1 out in the Atlantic. As we move over to the local 1 with Dylan right now, we're going to pass it over for the local 1. For local 1, oh, we're going to pass it over to the desk. I mean, Margaret, my bad.
Thanks, Jennifer. We're going to take a quick look at weather history. On this day, back in 1926, the Great Miami Hurricane produced winds reaching up to 138 miles per hour down in South Florida, which is very strong winds. Those are major hurricane force winds. And also a weather history event from the other week was Hurricane Andrew. And storms like the Great Miami Hurricane or Hurricane Andrew often prompt the improvement of building codes for structures. As more technologies become available to build buildings stronger, they improve how buildings are built, so then people are safer during hurricanes. So here's to hoping that people learn from history to keep improving our building codes as time goes forward. But now we're going to throw things out to Dylan at the wall.
Thanks, Tyler. Thanks, Margaret, for that look back at history. But currently in Tallahassee, we're seeing temperature of 91 degrees with that humidity only sitting at 40%. So it's not looking too bad out there for you, but it was kind of sunny today, so that heat was just generated by the sun. So we're seeing hot temperatures, but around the region, we're going to move to around the region. We're going to look at the current temperatures right now. You're going to see a lot of 90s right there. You see 82 in Monticello right now. Might see a shower or two, might see some wind cooling those down, but you can see Carabel and Apalachicola sitting at the cooler points. That's because those sea breezes are bringing in those cooler temperatures just for them. In St. Mark's, you're seeing 92. Wilma always being the hot spot at 93 degrees. Moving on to the winds around the region, you can see that 12-mile-per-hour wind now in Apalachicola, really cooling things down over there, bringing on the sea breeze. Only seeing 1 in Monticello, 8 in Thomasville from the north, so not seeing much of a thing. Relative humidity for around the region. Thomasville, 38, to this drastic difference of Monticello at 77. Probably seeing that shower right now, that's why it's just so high. But you can see that drastic difference from 37 in Wilma to 58 and 59 in Apalachicola and Carabel. So you're going to see that low humidity leading to kind of a nice day around the region. Radar, not seeing much. It is not broken. In fact, you can see little showers up there, but nothing in our viewing area, so it led to a very nice and clear day. Tonight's forecast, we're going to see 70 degrees, clear skies, calm evening, and a calm wind. So should be kind of a nice day if you're going out to the park or just walking around and going back to classes. Tomorrow, though, for your forecast, we're going to see 92 degrees. It is going to be another hot one. We're getting back into the days of high temperatures and very rain chances around the 20s. So you're going to see kind of the same pattern throughout the next couple of weeks. It's going to be hot, sunny. Thing to remember is to stay hydrated. We're going to see a lot of heat, and for that heat, you're going to need a lot of water to compensate for losing all that energy during the heat. But moving into the 5-day forecast, we're going to start off on Monday with a high of 92, low of 70, seeing that 20% chance of rain. But moving into Wednesday, seeing that temperature pick up or stay around 92, and seeing that 30% chance of rain. But Thursday, going to that 40% chance of rain with a high of 91. So you're going to see those highs of 90s, the lows of 70s, and those rain chances jump around between 20 and 40% throughout the rest of the week. But now I'm going to give things to Margaret for a look of the Southeast.
Thanks, Dylan. It really looks like it's still summer here across the Big Bend area, and as we get into the Southeast, it looks like it's summer across the rest of the Southeast. 90 degrees in Miami right now with those partly cloudy skies. 90 degrees also in Tupelo, Mississippi, so it's still hot across the Southeast as you see temperatures largely in the upper 80s and low 90s. Wilmington, a little bit cooler there up in North Carolina at 82 degrees, but a mix of clouds and sun and nice warm temperatures across the entire Southeast. Dew points are also relatively high. We've got a 63-degree dew point here in Tallahassee, even higher as you go down towards Miami where they have a 70-degree dew point or 71-degree dew point down in Key West. And when you've got any dew point above 60 degrees, it feels very muggy outside, especially when the temperature is as hot as it is. Dew point, not quite so bad. Places like Savannah, where the dew point's only 65, sort of in that borderline zone, and getting up north into Atlanta, 57-degree dew point would feel marvelous, but it's not quite the time of the year for us to be seeing dew points that low just yet, so we've still got a little bit longer to wait for that. But while it is muggy outside, we also have beautiful clear skies, so if you like to get out and enjoy the sunshine, great time to do it. Some clouds over Mississippi with some showers associated with a weak frontal area, but most of the Southeast from Florida up through North Carolina and to the west up into Tennessee and Alabama, all looking absolutely gorgeous with just a couple of passing clouds and a couple of little scattered showers down between Orlando and Miami down in South Florida, but nothing that's going to ruin your day if you've got any outdoor plans. Current winds are in part steered by high pressure over north central Georgia, so we get a little bit of that clockwise motion, and you can sort of see it in winds coming out of the northwest, places like Wilmington, and wrapping around a little bit. You don't get the winds wrapping around this part here, but then you do see them wrapping where they're coming out of the south, New Orleans, Shreveport, Little Rock. So you can see a little bit of the circulation from that high pressure. Key West, meanwhile, dictated more by the sea breeze there. They're getting strong winds down there, 15-mile-an-hour winds down in Key West. For tonight across the Southeast, cooling down to right near 70 degrees, 68 for Tallahassee, 73 for Orlando, staying warm as you get down towards Florida, the southern end of Florida, 78 in Miami, 80 for Key West, and a little bit cooler, 69 in Savannah, 66 in Wilmington. For tomorrow, things heat right back up. Some scattered showers and storms for Tupelo, but for the rest of the Southeast, a whole lot of sunshine. And now I'm going to take things over to the lab where I'm going to be talking about the Cassini probe that had been in orbit around Saturn until this past weekend. It was then sent into Saturn to end its life so that there weren't any contaminants from Saturn or from Earth that got into Saturn's moons, because Saturn's moons may have water on them that may harbor microbial life. So this is a artist's rendition of the Cassini probe orbiting Saturn, and if you look carefully, you can see the hexagonal way the atmosphere of Saturn flows around its north pole. The next picture here, this is a group picture of everyone that worked on the Cassini probe. That's a huge group shot that was taken there outside of the NASA facility where they've been working. A lot of work and a lot of brain power goes into putting these probes into orbit, from the people that design it to the people that design the rockets, and even the meteorologists that make sure that launch conditions are clear for the rocket so that it can safely make it into Earth orbit and then out into space to get to its destination. This is one of the pictures that Cassini took. You can see the shadow of Saturn cast on its rings. So this side is illuminated by the sun, and this is the dark side that is not being illuminated. And we're going to leave with one last artist rendition of Cassini orbiting Saturn. You can see the rings here up on the top and Saturn's atmosphere down below. And now we're going to send things back to the wall with Dylan for a national look.
Thank you, Margaret. All right, to take things back to a more national look, we're going to look around. You're going to see Miami at 90 degrees, Tallahassee sitting at that 91 degrees you saw earlier. The hot spot right now, Phoenix at 98 degrees. It is very warm over there, but the coolest parts are in the northwest, sorry. Seattle at 62, Minneapolis seeing 57 degrees. So you're seeing those cooler temperatures around in the top part of the country, but not here. Watches and warnings. I'm going to step off to the side. You can see all this red and pink, hurricane watches and hurricane warnings and tropical storm watches and tropical storm warnings, all associated with Jose as it's making its way up to the northeast part of the United States, but not really currently posing a threat for us down here. You can see all that small craft advisory associated with all that turbulence being put up in the ocean by Jose. Satellite radar, you can kind of see Jose's formation over here. That not well-defined eye, not very well-defined. You can see this rain over in Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma. You see as this rain moves its west into Iowa, Missouri, and parts of Arkansas, but it was in Oklahoma earlier. So that rain moved through. Moving into a SPC outlook for tomorrow. So for tomorrow's outlook, we're going to see some marginal, enhanced, and slight warnings issued. You're going to see in North and South Dakota, you're going to see that enhanced really taking effect, and especially the slight. But in Minnesota, you're going to see more of a marginal kind of impact and seeing some of half that state, the western part of the state, seeing that slight impact there. Moving into the airport delays, the only airport delays we're seeing over are in New York associated with Jose's approach to that area. And someone just informed me that they are seeing some delays in the international aspects. So some flights have been canceled there. So if you are flying and connecting into New York for the next couple of days, be sure to just check in, make sure your flights are okay, and make sure you're getting on time. Moving into tonight's forecast, you see temperatures cooler on the western part. I'm going to step over to the side. You're going to see 59 in Albuquerque, 53 in Denver, 59 in Salt Lake City, 48 in Billings, the coldest one right now. But for Dallas, you're going to see 77, still kind of warm for a nightly temperature, 77 in San Antonio as well, and us 68. Down in Miami, you're going to see 78, probably the warm spot right now. Tomorrow's forecast, you're going to see some of the rain in the northwest part of the state. See Seattle with 59 degrees, so very cool for a summertime temperature. Phoenix at the hottest one, 101 degrees with some clear skies, so it's going to be very hot for you there. Tallahassee seeing 92 degrees and some clear skies tomorrow. Atlanta seeing 88, so a lot of things, but you're going to see the situation. Minneapolis seeing still some warmer temperatures. But right now, I'm going to hand things off to Jennifer with a local look.
Yeah, and we're taking a look at current conditions across the tri-state area. 88 degrees already in Gainesville. We're seeing a lot of partly cloudy to sunny skies all across Florida, Georgia, and Alabama. So 91 degrees in Montgomery, Alabama, and 88 degrees over in Pensacola. So we're seeing a lot of sunny skies, some clouds in the mix as well, but dew points are keeping us very, very warm. 63 is our dew point in Gainesville, 69 in Panama City as they get a little bit higher along the coast, and 71 in Pensacola is our current dew points across the tri-state area, and those dew points are in the 60s to 70 range. So we're seeing moderate and oppressive dew points, which just makes it very, very warm as you head outside. Satellite radar, we're showing a little bit of shower formation along the east coast. So if you're heading up the I-95 corridor, you may see some showers heading up towards the Orlando and Melbourne area along with Daytona, but sunny skies are in the mix for Tallahassee and Panama City, so we won't see any rain chances going in through tonight. Current winds, we're showing mainly a northern flow as we get up towards Georgia and northern Florida. In a westerly flow, in a western wind, 8 miles per hour in Panama City, so we're seeing some very light winds across the area, which is making us fairly warm. We're also looking at some watches and warning. We're looking at flood warnings for much of central Florida as Hurricane Irma leaves its rain for much of those areas, and also a small craft advisory along the east coast. So if you're heading out on the boat or along there, make sure you take a bit of caution as you head out over there. Tonight's forecast for the Big Bend region, 71 degrees for St. Mark's, 72 for Carabel, and 74 for Apalachicola, but those rain chances stay at 10%, so it will definitely be very, very calm for much of tonight, and we won't really see a lot of rain for us in the coming for tonight. And also for tomorrow's forecast, 91 degrees for Monticello, 20% rain chance, so it's going to be very, very warm with no rain to cool us off throughout the day. So stay hydrated, keep water along if you're heading to classes for tomorrow on near Tuesday. 90 degrees for Perry, 88 for Caribou, a little bit cooler along the coast, 87 for Apalachicola, but 92 degrees is our temperature for tomorrow for Tallahassee. So if you're heading outside, try to keep in the shade, especially if you're heading over to class. Take some routes that don't really have take some routes that have some shade. But with that, we're gonna switch it over. We're going to switch it over to the week ahead, your 7-day forecast, my bad. 20% rain chance for Tuesday with a high 92. As we go on throughout the rest of the week, 30% rain chance for Wednesday with a high 92. And we're going to see a little bit of some rain chances for Thursday, 40% chance of rain with 91. As we take it over to the lab with Dylan.
All right, thank you, Jennifer. We're going to turn our attention now to the tropics. We're going to have tropics segment come up later to look more at other storms. But right now, I'm going to focus on Hurricane Maria. Hurricane Maria just recently a Category 4, just upgraded within the last 2 hours. So with that comes the 5 p.m. cone. And with that 5 p.m. cone, we can still see the trend that has been sitting with Maria. It's going to go over the Lesser Antilles, make its way on top of Puerto Rico, and move on to the Dominican Republic. So the thing that people are concerned are, family members of mine and friends of mine are concerned for Florida, recently impacted by Irma. Very devastating, a lot of damages, and they're trying to rebuild and recuperate from that effects. So people are concerned in Florida about, well, could Maria come to us? And from the 3-day cone, which is this more shaded in kind of cone, you can see that it's not really going to impact. And in the 5-day, you can see kind of make that turn. Same thing happened with Irma. Early on, we saw this kind of staying to the east for Irma. So the thing to take note is, right now, Maria does not pose a threat to Florida. But in the coming days, the cone could shift. The cone is uncertain. It's the cone of uncertainty. We do not know where it's going. We're more than 5 days out for this storm. And but yeah, right now I'm going to send it over to Margaret with a look at a more in-depth look on the tropics.
Thank you, Dylan. I'm going to bring things out to the wall here for our tropical update, and we're going to start with just taking a look at where we're at in terms of names for hurricane season. Jose still hanging on as a Category 1 hurricane, so we've made it through about half of our list already in terms of storms that have already come and gone. And Lee just barely hanging on as a tropical depression. Maria is the real big story, though, a Category 4 storm about to head towards the Windward Islands. But out in the Pacific, sorry about the header there, it's now Tropical Storm Norma and Tropical Storm Otis out there. And those don't pose any threat to Florida because they are all the way out in the Pacific Ocean. For a little bit of geographical reference, this is Mexico up here, so they are well away from Florida. And we're going to take a really wide view of the satellite here out in the Atlantic Ocean. You can see what remains of Lee, then Hurricane Irma down here, or sorry, not Irma, Maria down here, and Hurricane Jose here, and then the two Pacific systems here. They are nowhere near as big as Jose or Maria, so just for some size reference, these two hurricanes are massive storms right now. They take up a huge amount of space. So as we zoom in a bit on these Atlantic storms, you can really see how disorganized Lee is, especially in comparison to Maria, where you can actually see a bit of an eye feature at the end of this loop appearing here. And it is approaching the Windward Islands, so this is going to be a very dangerous situation for them. Meanwhile, Jose is staying out at sea, but is kicking up a lot of surf for the eastern seaboard from the Carolinas up through Nova Scotia. So that is something that people need to be keeping aware of as the storm continues to be kicking up a lot of surf. It is getting disorganized because the center circulation's around here, but most of the storm activity is well away from it, and it's all off to the north and to the east of that center of circulation. So Jose is becoming disorganized, and it's going from being called a tropical cyclone to a post-tropical cyclone. It's distinction in the characteristics of the cloud and convection features, how those storms around it are organized. It's a meteorological distinction there. So as we take a look at Jose's cone, it's going to continue northward and then take a sharp turn towards the south again over the next 5 days. So this storm is just meandering around off the mid-Atlantic and New England coastline. It's going to be kicking up a lot of surf, and because it could make a closer approach towards Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut, some watches and warnings for tropical storm force winds and conditions have been issued. Maria, meanwhile, you can see again here on the zoomed-in satellite view, its eye is approaching the Caribbean islands there, and the National Hurricane Center has issued hurricane warnings for many of the Windward Islands here, as well as Puerto Rico, taking it further north, north of the Bahamas. So right now it is not thought to pose any threat to land, but right now we're going to send things back to the desk with Dylan.
Thank you, Margaret. Sorry about the technical difficulties, but right now we're going to turn to something different. Last night, my dad sent me a text with the question, my sports watch detected that I climbed 29 flights of stairs during Hurricane Irma, and I was kind of amazed. How could my dad climb 29 flights of stairs as a Category 3/4 hurricane was making landfall? The thing is, many sports watches, I found out, did some research, have altimeters in them. It's kind of like a barometer. It measures the changes in pressure, and that's how it tells how many flights of stairs someone climbed in a day. So with Irma's approach, you can see that drop in pressure. In the center of a hurricane is the lowest pressure, and the rings around it increase in pressure, but as they move, you can see that you experience a different change in pressure as a hurricane moves towards you and away from you. So it calculated 29 flights of stairs, which would have been around 29 different types of pressure my dad experienced over that day. Is very interesting and definitely something to look forward to or look at when a hurricane is approaching. You can tell that different change of pressure as it approaches and as it moves away. But yeah, right now I'm going to take it to Jennifer with an Around Florida look. Sorry about that. We're having some technical difficulties. The other interesting thing that I looked at with Irma, it actually registered on some earthquake scales. Some small tremors, some small sounds were picked up by people in Mexico and in the Caribbean islands as a earthquake. And so that earthquake was picked up, and it was kind of cool to see that something that has nothing to do with earthquakes could be picked up on a scale. So that disturbance, that huge Category 5 storm that Irma was so strong and powerful that it registered on a earthquake seismograph. But right now I'm going to send it back to Jennifer at the wall with an Around Florida look.
Yes, thank you, Dylan. Sorry about that technical difficulty. We're looking at current conditions across Florida right now. 88 degrees in Tampa. They're looking at some partly cloudy skies there. 91 degrees here in Tallahassee as some clouds start to build up along our area. And 90 degrees over Miami, so it's really warm across the Florida Peninsula right now. Current relative humidity, seeing a little bit lower, 40% in Tallahassee, 54 in Tampa percent, and 67 in Fort Myers. So the humidity is certainly dry along Tallahassee, but a little bit higher as you get more towards the south of the peninsula. Current heat index right now, 93 degrees is what it feels like outside when you mix in dew points with temperature. So it's 93 degrees, it's feeling like in Tampa, 94 in Fort Myers, and in Key West, 93 degrees. So it's certainly feeling very hot all across the Tampa Bay, all across Florida. Taking a look at the water vapor, it's certainly dry across the peninsula right now. A little bit of some pop-up moisture along the coast with that sea breeze moving onshore, but certainly Tallahassee's feeling fairly well along our area with that water vapor very low. Tonight's forecast for Florida, 74 degrees in Tampa, 74 for Fort Myers, and 80 degrees in Key West, so it's feeling very warm across the area. Tomorrow's forecast, 92 degrees for Orlando, 92 degrees for Tallahassee, and it's just going to be sunny for much of the area. Little thunderstorms possible near West Palm Beach, certainly, but we're going to keep those temperatures very high as we head to the local with Margaret.
Thanks, Jennifer. Bringing things back for one last local look. Here's today's almanac. A little bit above average for our high temperature, 91 degrees, compared to the average of 88. Thankfully, nowhere near the record set in 2005. 98 degrees is just way too hot. Our low, 66, a smidge below the average, but very close to average. So overall, we had a relatively average day in terms of our temperatures. Our local radar is looking very, very clear. Some eagle-eyed viewers might notice a couple specks over in Alabama, but for our main viewing area, it's nice and clear outside. So if you got any outdoor plans, maybe getting in a couple holes of golf, no rain for the entire afternoon for the Big Bend area. So it's a great day to get out for a run, as long as you remember to stay hydrated, because those current temperatures here at the 6 o'clock hour are still hot. 91 in Tallahassee, 88 for Monticello and Thomasville, starting to cool off a little bit down in Perry, but still hot. St. Mark's, 92 degrees. So the bright red across the entire Big Bend tells the whole story. It's nice and warm outside. Our dew points across the Big Bend also a bit on the muggy side. 65-degree dew point in Perry is sort of the upper limit of what might be construed as comfortable. 64 for Valdosta, 63 in Thomasville. Those are sort of so-so depending on how much you like muggy weather. But those 70-degree dew point in Bainbridge, that's just downright muggy there. And here on our dew point explainer, it just really breaks it down. The 60 to 69 range is that moderable border zone between the comfortable dew points and the uncomfortable dew points. So it is something to keep an eye on. The watches and warnings, the flood watches across Florida are still left over from Hurricane Irma, from all the rain and the river flooding that it caused. And small craft advisories are due to Jose, even though it's hundreds of miles away. The Futurecast cloud cover and radar for the Florida Big Bend just shows passing clouds. Tonight's forecast, right around the 70-degree mark, nice clear skies, only a 10% chance of rain, so you don't need to worry about bringing your umbrella along. For tomorrow, right up back around 90 degrees, much like today, so just remember to stay hydrated as you get outside. And for the week ahead, about 90 degrees, we've got that 40% chance of rain on Thursday, so you might want to pack your umbrella on Thursday. But for the rest of the week, it's looking really nice. A bit warm, but other than that, absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, that's wonderful. It's certainly going to feel like a hot week going on throughout the rest of the week, right?
Yep, summer is trying to make sure that we don't forget it as we are starting to transition towards fall and winter.
It's definitely not feeling like fall, definitely around here, right?
It does take a little bit more time for it to feel like fall here in Tallahassee than it does in other parts of the country.
Yeah, mainly up north are seeing pretty good temperatures, right?
Some places are already looking at leaves changing or even snow out in places like Idaho and Montana.
Yeah, so taking a look at your week ahead as we look at your week ahead. 20% rain chance for Tuesday, that high at 92 for tomorrow. And Thursday, we may see some rain chance at 40% for our area.
So pack your umbrellas on Thursday, but the rest of the week looks absolutely gorgeous. And if you want to keep up-to-date forecasts, follow us on Facebook or Twitter. Just search FSU Weather.
Yes, and if you could also watch us anytime on livestream.com/FSU Weather.
You can watch our archive shows on live stream, and we are now streaming on YouTube, just a reminder. So if you want to watch us live, youtube.com/FSU Weather.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us on this Monday evening. I'm student meteorologist Margaret Hollis.
And I'm student meteorologist Jennifer Collins.
Have a great night and a great rest of the week. Thanks for watching.